The misunderstood complement engineer Marcus Kane had seen many strange things during his 3 years working on mining station Omega-7, but nothing prepared him for the 7-foot-tall warrior who just saved his life. The Zephyrian female stood over the smoking remains of 3 Ravager pirates, her crystalline armor still glowing from combat energy. Her 4 arms moved with deadly grace as she sheathed her plasma blades. "Thank you," Marcus gasped, pulling himself from behind the overturned cargo container. His hands shook as he brushed dust from his maintenance uniform. The pirates had cornered him in the station's lower levels, and he thought he was done for. Warrior turned toward him, her silver eyes studying his face. Her skin was pale blue with intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the dim light. 2 antennae-like structures on her head twitched as she examined him. "You fight differently than other humans," she said, her voice carrying a melodic quality. Despite its depth, most would have run screaming or begged for mercy. Marcus managed a weak smile. "Well, I'm an engineer. We're taught to analyze problems, not panic." He gestured to the improvised explosive device he'd been building when she arrived. "I was trying to rig something to slow them down." She moved closer, and Marcus caught himself staring. Everything about her was alien, yet somehow graceful. Her movements held a predatory elegance that spoke of countless battles. "You are different," Marcus said without thinking, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. The warrior froze. Her antennae snapped upright, and her 4 hands moved to what Marcus assumed were ceremonial positions. Her silver eyes widened, reflecting the station's emergency lighting. "Different?" she repeated, her voice carrying a strange new tone. "I mean, you're not like the other aliens I've met," Marcus explained, completely missing the cultural landmine he'd just stepped on. "You actually stopped to help instead of just taking what you wanted." The warrior's expression shifted through several emotions Marcus couldn't identify. Among the Zephyrians, calling someone different was the highest form of romantic declaration. A statement that this person stood apart from all others in the universe. "Human Marcus Kane," she said formally, her voice now carrying ceremonial weight. "I am Warrior Prime Kestravan of the 7th Fleet. You honor me with your words." Marcus blinked in confusion. "Honor you? I was just saying thanks for the rescue." Kestra stepped closer, her 4 hands moving in what Marcus would later learn was the traditional Zephyrian acceptance gesture. "Then I accept your proposal. My what now?" Marcus's voice cracked like a teenager's. Before he could process what was happening, alarms began blaring throughout the station. The emergency comm system crackled to life with panicked voices reporting massive fleet movements. The Dominion, Alliance humanity's greatest enemy, was launching a full-scale invasion of human space. Kestra's expression hardened as her warrior instincts kicked in. "The war begins," she said grimly. "And now, my betrothed, we fight together." Marcus felt his world spinning. In the span of 5 minutes, he'd gone from mining engineer to accidentally engaged to an alien warrior princess, and now humanity faced its greatest threat. He looked at Kestra, who was already checking her weapons and scanning tactical displays. "I think," Marcus said slowly, "I'm going to need a bigger toolkit." Unlikely allies. 3 days after the accidental proposal, Marcus found himself aboard Kestra's warship, the Stellar Wrath, as part of an unprecedented alliance. The massive vessel hummed with alien technology that made his engineer's heart race with curiosity. He'd never imagined he'd be helping plan humanity's defense strategy from inside a Zephyrian battlecruiser. "The Dominion forces are massing at the Kepler Junction," reported Captain Torres, one of the few human officers allowed on the bridge. "They've got 300 ships, including their new dreadnoughts." Kestra studied the holographic display, her 4 hands dancing across control surfaces with practiced ease. "The Dominion believes human space is weak," she said. "They underestimate your species' capacity for innovation. Marcus watched the tactical readouts, his mind working through possibilities. The human fleet numbered barely 50 ships against the Dominion's overwhelming force. Traditional tactics would result in humanity's extinction within hours. What if we don't fight them head-on? Marcus suggested suddenly. The bridge fell silent as both human and Zephyrian officers turned to stare at him. Kestra's antennae perked up with interest. "Explain, my betrothed." Marcus still flinched at that title, but he pushed through his embarrassment. "I've been studying your ship's systems. The Dominion uses centralized command networks, right? What if we could turn their own coordination against them?" Captain Torres frowned. "That's impossible. Their encryption is unbreakable." "Not break it," Marcus said, warming to his idea. "Corrupt it. Feed false data into their network. Make them think they're winning when they're actually destroying each other." Kestra's eyes gleamed with understanding. A virus in their battle. Protocols. Clever. She turned to her tactical officer. "Can our systems interface with human technology?" "With modifications, yes," the officer replied. Marcus felt adrenaline surge through his veins. "I'll need access to both human and Zephyrian computer cores, and about 6 hours to write the most complicated piece of code in galactic history." The next few hours blurred together in a frenzy of collaborative engineering. Human and Zephyrian. Technicians worked side by side, their different approaches to problem-solving creating unexpected solutions. Marcus found himself adapting alien programming languages while teaching Zephyrian engineers about human intuitive design. "Your species thinks in circles," observed Sub-Engineer Vex, a slight Zephyrian with 6 arms instead of the usual 4. "Humans approach problems from angles we would never consider." "And your people think in 4 dimensions," Marcus replied, admiring the elegant mathematical structures the Zephyrians used. This hybrid approach might actually work. Kestra divided her time between battle preparations and checking on Marcus's progress. Each visit revealed more about her culture's complex honor system. Apparently, their accidental engagement had bound their people's fates together in ways neither fully understood. In Zephyrian tradition, she explained during one brief break, when a warrior accepts a proposal, their fleets are honor-bound to defend their betrothed's people. Marcus paused his coding. "So you're fighting for humanity because you think we're engaged?" "I am fighting for humanity because you showed me something I had never seen," Kestra replied. "Courage without aggression. Strength without dominance. You called me different, but it is your people who are truly unique." The virus was completed just as Dominion forces entered human space. Marcus watched through the viewscreen as hundreds of enemy ships dropped out of hyperspace, their dark hulls bristling with weapons designed to crack planets. "Initiating upload," Marcus announced, his fingers flying over the hybrid control interface they'd created. The virus spread through Dominion networks like wildfire, invisible and insidious. For several minutes, nothing seemed to change. Then chaos erupted across the enemy formation as ships began receiving contradictory orders. Targeting systems locked onto friendly vessels, and navigation computers sent entire squadrons into collision. "Courses by the ancestors," breathed Captain Torres. "It's working." Marcus grinned as he watched the most powerful fleet in the galaxy tear itself apart through its own coordination systems. "Sometimes," he said, "being different is exactly what you need." The human factor, the aftermath of the virus attack, left the Dominion fleet in complete disarray, but Marcus knew their victory was temporary. Enemy ships were already beginning to isolate their systems and restore manual control. The real battle was just beginning. "They're adapting faster than expected," Marcus reported, watching as Dominion vessels regrouped into smaller independent formations. "We've got maybe 20 minutes before they're fully operational again." Kestra studied the tactical display with the cold efficiency of a born warrior. Then we use those 20 minutes to show them why the galaxy fears Zephyrian steel. She, ACTIVATED Fleet-Wide Communications. All ships advance to battle formation. Target their command vessels. The stellar wrath surged forward alongside a mixed fleet of human and Zephyrian ships, the first truly integrated force in galactic history. Marcus watched in awe as the two species' different tactical approaches complemented each other perfectly. Human. Ships are moving to flank positions, reported the tactical officer. Their smaller size allows them to exploit gaps in enemy formations. Marcus found himself thinking like both an engineer and a strategist. Kestra, what if we combined human unpredictability with Zephyrian firepower? Use our ships as bait to draw them into your kill zones? Dangerous, she replied. Human vessels are not built to withstand Dominion weapons. But they are built to be fast and maneuverable, Marcus countered. Trust me on this one. Kestra's antennae twitched a sign of deep thought. Then she nodded. All Zephyrian vessels, prepare for Pattern Vex 7. Human ships, begin harassment runs on enemy flanks. Draw them toward our heavy units. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Human ships darted between massive Dominion dreadnoughts like angry wasps, their smaller weapons causing minimal damage but maximum confusion. Meanwhile, Zephyrian heavy cruisers waited in perfect ambush positions. Enemy formation is breaking apart, Captain Torres reported from his flagship. They're trying to swat our fighters and leaving themselves exposed. Marcus watched as Dominion ships spread themselves thin, pursuing human vessels into carefully prepared killing fields. When the Zephyrian heavy units opened fire, the results were devastating. But the Dominion had tricks of their own. Their largest dreadnought, the Void Destroyer, emerged from the fleet's center with weapons charging for a planet-killing bombardment. They're targeting Earth, Marcus realized with horror. That beam will crack the planet's crust. Kestra's 4 hands flew over her controls. All ships converge on the Void Destroyer. We must prevent— Wait, Marcus interrupted, his mind racing through calculations. What if we don't stop the beam? What if we redirect it? He pulled up schematics of the enemy ship. Look at their power distribution. That weapon draws energy from their entire ship. If we could create a feedback loop at the moment of firing, the beam would turn back on itself, Kestra finished, understanding immediately. But the timing would have to be perfect. 1 second too early or too late ... Then Earth dies, Marcus said grimly. But if we do nothing, Earth dies anyway. This is our only shot. The next few minutes required the kind of precision that only came from absolute trust between allies. Zephyrian ships moved into position to create a gravitic lens, while human vessels prepared to sacrifice themselves as living shields. Marcus worked frantically to calculate the exact moment when the feedback pulse would need to hit. His hybrid virus had taught him to think in Zephyrian mathematical concepts, allowing him to process 4-dimensional tactical scenarios. Beam charging, reported sensors. 60 seconds to firing. Kestra placed one of her 4 hands on Marcus's shoulder. If this fails ... It won't, Marcus said with more confidence than he felt. Different minds, different solutions. That's what makes us strong together. The Void Destroyer's weapon reached full charge, energy crackling along its kilometer-long barrel. At that exact moment, Marcus triggered the feedback pulse, sending a stream of corrupted targeting data into the ship's firing computer. For 1 terrifying second, nothing happened. Then the massive beam weapon turned on itself, the planet-killing energy reflecting back through the ship's own systems. The Void Destroyer vanished in a flash of light that briefly outshone the local star. The remaining Dominion forces, seeing their ultimate weapon destroyed by impossible tactics, began a fighting retreat. They had come to conquer a weak species. and instead discovered that humans were unlike anything they had ever faced. "Victory is ours," Kestra announced, but her voice carried respect rather than triumph. "The galaxy will remember this day." Marcus slumped in his chair, exhausted but amazed by what they had accomplished. "Think they'll leave us alone now?" Kestra's smile showed too many teeth. "No, but next time they will bring their best." Forging an empire 6 months after the First Dominion War, Marcus found himself in a situation he never could have imagined, sitting in the newly constructed Terran embassy on Zephyros Prime, negotiating humanity's first galactic alliance. The irony wasn't lost on him that an accidental proposal had led to humanity's emergence as a major galactic power. "The Crystalline Collective wishes to join our alliance," reported Ambassador Chun, a former diplomat who'd adapted remarkably well to multi-species negotiations. "They're offering their manufacturing capabilities in exchange for human tactical innovation." Kestra, now officially recognized as both war leader of the 7th Fleet and Marcus's diplomatic partner, studied the proposal with her characteristic intensity. "The Collective's crystal technology could revolutionize our ship hulls. But they are a peaceful people. Can they adapt to warfare?" Marcus leaned back in his chair, still adjusting to his unexpected role as humanity's chief technology advisor. "Maybe that's exactly what we need. Not every problem requires a military solution." The past months had seen a dramatic shift in galactic politics. News of humanity's victory over the Dominion had spread quickly, bringing delegations from dozens of species who wanted to understand these strange bipedal beings, who fought like demons but negotiated like merchants. "The avian republics are requesting a demonstration of human adaptive tactics," Chen continued. "Apparently, our ability to improvise solutions has become legendary." Kestra's antennae twitched with amusement. They should ask the Dominion about human improvisation. The door chimed, and Captain Torres entered with news that immediately changed the mood. "We've got a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements in the outer rim. It's not the Dominion this time." Marcus pulled up the tactical display, his heart sinking as he saw the scope of the approaching threat. "That's got to be 3,000 ships. Who has that kind of firepower?" "The hegemony," Kestra said grimly. The Dominion's overlords had decided to handle humanity personally. The hegemony was legend-made real and ancient empire that had ruled the galaxy's core worlds for millennia. They commanded technologies that bordered on godlike and had never been seriously challenged. "We need the alliance fully operational," Marcus realized. "Not just military cooperation, but complete integration. Shared technology, combined fleets, unified command structure." Ambassador Chun frowned. "That would essentially mean creating a new galactic government. The bureaucracy alone could take years." "We don't have years," Marcus replied. "We have maybe 6 months before the hegemony arrives. We need to do something unprecedented." Kestra was already accessing her command console. "I'm calling an emergency council of all allied species. Every leader, every fleet commander, every chief engineer." The next few weeks saw the most intensive diplomatic and engineering collaboration in galactic history. Species that had barely known of each other's existence were suddenly sharing their most closely guarded secrets. Marcus found himself at the center of it all, his ability to think in hybrid concepts making him invaluable as a translator between different technological paradigms. The Crystalline Collective's matter-phasing technology, combined with Avian Republic, gravity manipulation, and Zephyrian energy systems to create entirely new classes of vessels. "The humans are changing us all," observed Collective Mind Resonance during one late-night design session. "Their approach to cooperation is unprecedented. They see potential where we see problems," added Wing Commander Soar of the Avian Republics. "It is a gift we are learning to appreciate. But the greatest Breakthrough came from an unexpected source. While studying hegemony historical records, Marcus discovered that their seemingly invincible empire had one critical weakness. They had never faced an opponent who could adapt faster than they could respond. The hegemony conquers through overwhelming technological superiority, Marcus explained to the assembled council. They study their enemies, develop countermeasures, then attack with unstoppable force. But what if we could change tactics faster than they could analyze them? Kestra immediately grasped the implications. A fluid battle doctrine. Ships that can reconfigure themselves mid-combat. Tactics that evolve in real time. The birth of an empire, the final confrontation, came exactly 8 months after Marcus's accidental proposal. In the Nexus system, where ancient jump gates connected a dozen stellar regions. The hegemony had brought their full might, 5,000. Ships of unimaginable power, led by vessels the size of small moons. Marcus stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned Unity Station, a massive command platform that represented the pinnacle of allied cooperation. Around him, beings from 30 different species worked in perfect coordination, their various technologies seamlessly integrated through human-designed interfaces. Hegemony forces are entering the system, reported Sensor Prime X, her crystalline form resonating with incoming data. They're deploying in the classical dominance formation. Kestra, now wearing the ceremonial armor of Supreme War Leader of the Allied Forces, studied the tactical display with satisfaction. They're using a 10,000-year-old battle plan against an enemy they don't understand. Marcus activated the communication system that connected every ship in their fleet. All vessels, this is command. Remember, we're not just fighting for our individual worlds anymore. We're fighting for something new, a galaxy, where different doesn't mean enemy. The hegemony opened with the same tactics that had conquered 1,000 worlds. Overwhelming firepower concentrated on single targets, designed to break enemy morale through displays of unstoppable force. Their first volley could have sterilized a planet. Instead, it harmlessly passed through the Allied fleet as crystalline. Collective phasing technology rendered entire squadrons temporarily intangible. Return fire, pattern Chaos 7, Kestra commanded. What followed was a battle that redefined warfare itself. Allied ships flowed like liquid metal, forming new configurations every few seconds. Weapons that fired solid matter one moment would launch pure energy the next. Fighter squadrons would merge into capital ships, then split apart into swarms of attack drones. They cannot predict our movements, observed the hegemony's Lord Admiral, his 1,000-year experience useless against tactics that had never existed before. How do we fight an enemy that becomes something new with each engagement? Marcus watched the battle unfold from Unity Station's command center, coordinating not through rigid orders, but through suggestions and possibilities shared across species barriers. The human gift for improvisation had taught their allies to think beyond their limitations. Hegemony forces are attempting to withdraw, reported Captain Torres from his flagship. Should we pursue? Negative, Marcus replied. Let them go. But transmit this message first. He opened a channel to the hegemony fleet. Lord Admiral, this is Engineer Marcus Kane of the Terran Alliance. Your empire has ruled through fear and overwhelming force for millennia. Today you've seen what happens when different species choose cooperation over conquest. The galaxy is changing. You can change with it, or you can become a relic of the past. The hegemony Lord Admiral's response was predictably arrogant. We are eternal, young species. We have crushed countless alliances before yours. Maybe, Marcus replied. But none of them had humans. The hegemony forces jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind debris from their damaged ships and shattered certainties about galactic order. They would return eventually, but next time they would face an opponent that had grown even stronger. Victory celebration will have to wait. Kestra announced to the fleet. "We have worlds to rebuild and new allies to welcome." As ships began dispersing to their new duties, Marcus found himself alone with Kestra on Unity Station's observation deck. The stars outside seemed different. Now, not empty space between isolated worlds, but connections in a vast network of cooperation. "Do you regret it?" Kestra asked. "Your accidental proposal that started all this?" Marcus thought about everything that had changed since he'd called an alien warrior different in a moment of gratitude. Humanity had gone from a minor species on the galactic periphery to the founding race of the largest alliance in history. "No," he said finally, "though I do think we need to work on our communication protocols." "Any other cultural landmines I should know about?" Kestra's four-armed embrace was answer enough. "With humans," she said, "I suspect every day will bring new surprises." Looking out at the allied fleet ships from dozens of worlds working together. Because one human engineer had seen potential where others saw differences, Marcus smiled. The Terran Empire hadn't been built through conquest or domination. It had been built through the simple revolutionary idea that being different was humanity's greatest strength. And this was only the beginning.